knowledge, you share your experience, you share yourself having fun, and people buy that. It gains a lot of engagement, it gains a lot of traction, and people will get paid. Newsletters, content, anyone that's got anything interesting to say, and they positioned it in a certain way that a market's like, actually, that's valuable, we will pay it. That is value, right? So it's not the qualification that counts.
So let's get real. Our value as doctors has significantly diminished over the last decade. So how can we turn that around by upskilling and creating rewarding and impactful careers on our own terms? Welcome to Disrupting Doctors' Careers. I'm your host, Dr. Bubbers-Jones, and I'm on a mission to connect 1 million talented doctors with the best in diverse career opportunities.
So most doctors tend to assume that more qualifications equals more money. After all, I do say that as doctors, we are qualification junkies, right? Despite being one of the most qualified people in the world, right? But in reality, that seems to not be enough for a lot of us, especially if we're developing impactful careers in industry. And the reality is, qualifications alone will not make you high value. So let me say that again. Qualifications alone will not make you high value. It won't necessarily lead to higher pay. It definitely won't necessarily lead to higher credibility and everything that you're after, right? It doesn't directly lead to that. It could help. It doesn't directly lead to that. So in this, it's really important that you understand what is it that will get you to that and what qualifications actually get you. So in this episode, I'm going to break down why so many doctors stay underpaid despite their extra training, despite all their credibility that they already have, despite the extra qualifications they get to get the extra credibility, and why they should focus on, what they should focus on instead if they want to earn at a high level. So if you've spent years getting degrees, certification, and extra training, and your income hasn't changed, well, this episode is for you, because I'm going to break down as to what you should do to make sure that changes. So why do doctors actually assume more qualifications equals higher pay, right? And the reality is, as part of our training, we've been institutionalized into thinking that, more qualifications, exams, courses, more letters after our name, value, right? That's essentially what we've been taught, even since we were in nursery, primary school, right? All of these milestones, value. You're more valuable the more qualifications you have. And to an extent, that is definitely true, however. But the system's changing. The wider world is changing. Employers are looking for something different, right? And I don't know one extremely successful entrepreneur that has a degree, right? They're all given honorary degrees, but none of them actually have all of those qualifications. They're all dropouts, right? That's for a reason. So the reality is, in clinical roles, qualifications, they can increase your pay, but only within the system's limits, right? So we're talking banded pay, scales, budgets. It can only get you so far. Even MBAs, guys, right? And we've seen the trend increasingly. Employers are saying, yes, MBA, nice, but how about all of these other candidates with MBA? Actually, you haven't jumped the playing field here. You're still the same as everyone else. What have you done differently, right? They want to see results. They want to see you actually run a business, or you're in a business. The MBA itself is not substantial enough to be like, tick box, yeah, you're in, right? So the market does not pay you for what you know. It pays you for the problems you solve. So remember, we as doctors, we're professional problem solvers, right? We're professional problem solvers. So why not use that more than an extra qualification, right, as the value bit? So I see so many highly certified professionals and doctors still struggle with their money versus people that do not have as many qualifications, or any, actually, I should say, earning more because of how they position themselves. So I use the example of influencers. anyone with a lived experience, say in a health condition, for example, they go on social media. You could be even 5 or 10 to do this, right? You don't even have to be an adult, and you share your knowledge, you share your experience, you share yourself having fun, and people buy that. It gains a lot of engagement, it gains a lot of traction, and people will get paid. Newsletters, content, anyone that's got anything interesting to say, and they positioned it in a certain way that a market's like, actually, that's valuable, we will pay it. That is value, right? So it's not the qualification that counts, right? And many doctors feel like they're not ready. They're not ready until they just get one more qualification done, just that diploma, just that master's, just that extra course, right? We're not quite ready yet. But the reality is, I don't know about you, I did not feel ready to be a doctor after I finished my 5 years of medical school, right? 5 years, I still wasn't really like, I can practice now, really? So much theory, not that much in the way of real hands-on, confident practice, right? And that experience, that confidence actually came from working as a doctor. All the theory, great. The practice, actually doing it, the actual taking action. And so if you're developing a career in industry, it's the taking action that actually counts. That is where your confidence is. That is where your value is. That where you failed, whether you succeeded, that's what people love to hear about, because that's where you've got real world practical experience. So the high earners, they focus on their real world practical experience to position themselves effectively towards solving specific problems that either people or companies have. They do not focus on their qualifications. So some of the really common mistakes that doctors make, right, are, as I said, thinking qualifications alone will attract high-paying opportunities. They don't, because if a qualification is readily available to take, then you're not going to be the only one doing it. Right, there's going to be a lot of other people doing that same qualification, and then you're basically at this kind of very level playing field. You're still amongst the competition. So if you are going to do a qualification, you've got to have something else. If you want to stand out, not just the qualification alone will be enough. So employers and clients, they don't pay for degrees, they pay for outcomes. So again, if you're a clinician and you're competing clinically, then yes, some opportunities will require you to have a degree, but to be on top of your medical degree. But to be fair, if you came along, did not have that degree or qualification or MBA, whatever it is, but you had something else that they saw that was valuable, it could be your network, could it be your commercial experience, could it be the fact that you're well known already, or influencer, they would definitely choose that over just a tick box qualification. So remember, it's really important you need to package your expertise in a way that's valuable to the right audience. So in the Doctors in Industry Fellowship, we talk about the most valuable audience. So that is the people that have a problem that you can solve, and they will also pay you to solve that problem, right? Relying on employer set pay scales instead of setting your own price is another mistake that doctors make. So we're used to fixed pay bands. We don't negotiate our pay as doctors, and no matter how much more we do, in real terms, we won't get beyond that band. That's just how it is, right? And so remember, like, if you want to really make that shift, you have to move from the employee mindset of, you're telling me what I'm going to be paid and where I'm valuable, to the high value expert mindset, which is, hey, I'm going to tell you how much this value is worth, right? And then you decide whether you're going to pay that or not, and then you negotiate. So there's way more wiggle room there than there is as an employee. So that is this very second common mistake, that doctors, they're told this is what you're going to be paid, and then they just say yes, right? And the third is not really learning the high value skills like sales, positioning, and packaging expertise. And people don't even know what that is a lot of the times. People think sales is for people in retail, or it's not for doctors, or it's too slimy, it's too pushy, you don't want to be too spammy. But sales is another skill. It's a skill. Some people are good at it because they've learned it. the real professional way, and some people are not so good at it because they haven't learned it the real professional way. And so the doctors that you see in industry right now, the best paid ones, the most successful ones, they're not necessarily the most qualified, but they are the ones that know how to package their expertise. They know how to sell and position themselves as a go-to expert, and they have a clear offer at a premium price. So, we've had doctors who have come in, junior doctors I'm talking about. So don't go like, oh, no, senior doctors don't have to call. Junior doctors, we've worked with them. So we had one particular one who wanted to develop themselves in consulting, right? Consulting with tech companies. And again, consulting with tech companies is very broad, but dealing with a specific problem in a tech company to do with complex health systems, they focused on that being their real niche. And so they packaged what they did. They sold themselves in a way that was attractive to a certain audience group, right? Not every tech company, not every health tech company, is a very specific subset of that group. And then was able to confidently say, hey, I'm one of very few people I know that can really address that problem, not based on just my clinical work, but my expertise and interest in this area and some of my lived experience and expertise working with other companies who have the same problem, right? So again, it's about that positioning and providing that package and really having that social proof as well, not just from, okay, I can get a reference from this company, but actually the social proof is your human story. Why is it that you have committed to this journey and committed to solving this problem? And this particular doctor had committed because they'd worked in a clinical environment, and this particular problem was quite substantial, that it was costing the trust they were working for at least hundreds of thousands of pounds every month. Right. So you can imagine, if you could solve that problem, you'd be saving these companies a heck of a lot of money, right? And you could charge a premium for that and it would look like a bargain in relation to how much money was solved. So what do you do instead, right? What do you focus on instead of getting more qualifications? I mean, we're addicts, we're junkies, we love a qualification, a good qualification. But if you're okay, I'm gonna take some time away from these qualifications. I mean, I personally decided I was going to stop taking qualifications about 5 years ago after I did my CSER route. So that's when you become a consultant, but down the DIY route. And I was like, I'm done. I've done so many. I literally have an alphabet for my name. I'm done. Right. So what do you focus on instead when you're done? Like I was. So I identified a high value problem that I could solve. And for me, it was really helping doctors to avoid being underpaid, especially when developing themselves as high value experts, right? I mean, there's lots of other problems that I was solving that were not high value, by the way. And so it really is important to focus on a problem where you will be paid highly for it. That's just one of the several problems. I mean, there's lots of low value problems that I was trying to solve, but there were lots of high value problems that I did help solve, especially in organizations and companies. For example, recruitment, headhunting, high value campaigns, a whole range of different things, right? So the question you need to ask yourself is, what problem am I really passionate about that people or companies will pay me to solve? And a way of delivering that is usually through consulting, advisory, coaching, industry expertise, even courses and training, right? The next is package your expertise into a high value offer, right? So stop trading time for money and doing the hourly rate thing. It's very limited. It can be very limited. And it's really important to create a premium offer. So that's usually around 5K plus, around helping your client or helping the individual that you're working for or providing a service to get real transformational outcomes, not just any outcome, transformational outcomes. For example, you could say, I'm going to sell my consulting for £150 an hour, or you could package a £7,000 strategy or advisory program that you could sell again and again and again, and then start outsourcing and doing less and less work to do it, right? So those are the key differences. Learn how to sell and position yourself as a high value expert. So these opportunities aren't advertised. They're never advertised, in fact. and they're never like put on your lap either. You need to create a system to attract and close high paying clients or customers, right? So you need to create that system. Learning how to do that is like, you have to go and learn how to do that, because it's not something that just happens organically, right? And it might look like it with other doctors doing it, but it's not organic. It's something you need to learn, just like learning medicine, right? It's a strategy. So it's really important that you, especially if you're looking to go broad, and especially after you feel like you've tapped out your existing network, so family and friends. So I always say, start off with, if your friends do not know what you're doing, if your family does not know what you're doing, you haven't spoken to nearly enough people, and in some ways stay away from LinkedIn, because you haven't done the practice and you haven't put the work in. Because a lot of your initial clients and customers will come from people you know, right? So then go onto LinkedIn. If you want to, you don't have to use LinkedIn, depending on where your clients or your most valuable audience are. Start networking strategically. Don't be talking to everybody and anyone about everything. Speak specifically to the audience that you care most about, so the ones that will pay you to solve that problem, and create content that really helps position you as a thought leader, right? So an authority in that area. And this is why it's so important to create a niche, because a very specific, deep niche, by the way, because at the end of the day, if you really want to stand out, it's easy to become a thought leader in your area if you're one of very few people, if not the only person doing that. I use the example of Gordon, music health tech. We've got Desaline, sleep tech. We've got another fellow who's sustainability consulting. It's got to stand out, and it's got to be quite unique for people to be like, oh, I haven't found that. I'm going to really engage with it. Those are high value clients that will be attracted to you. So if you found this episode valuable, got some golden nuggets there, take some action. That's all I say. Take action on what you've learned today. Think about what steps could you take in the next week or 30 days that could really change the game for you, instead of getting your wallet out and paying for another qualification, because the return on investment is not going to be as high as you think. So if you're someone who's actually genuinely quite serious about replacing your clinical income and learning how to build a high value consulting, coaching, or advisory business, we've opened up slots for our accelerator, our high value expert business accelerator, right? This is a small group mastermind. It's not for every doctor. It's only for literally a handful of doctors who are looking to grow quickly with their businesses, their service-based businesses, and want to leverage the premium pricing strategy, right? So we also have that, and we also have the fellowship for doctors who are developing high-value careers in industry. So if you are interested, check the link below or go to drsindustry.com/inquire, ENQUIRE. So remember, you don't need another qualification. You just don't need one. Even if you're early on or junior in your career, you have so many junior doctors that are really killing it in their industry careers without any more qualifications. You just need the right strategy to position, package, and sell your expertise, your passions. It doesn't have to be medical related or healthcare related. You can monetize anything these days. This is the world we live in, and that's what's so great about it. You can literally monetize anything at a high level these days, but you need to do the work, the market research, and the strategy to actually do it effectively and sustainably to a point where you can replace your clinical income. So doctors earning at the top aren't always the most qualified at all. They're the ones that have just mastered how to communicate and monetize their own value. So if you're ready to do that, if you're ready to invest in that element of you to ensure that the world really gains the benefit of you, then let's talk. On to the next episode.